My name is Kevin Jubbal, and you're watching Behind the Dream. I'm a physician entrepreneur living in Las Vegas. I've been working for myself now for a few years. In my prior life, I was doing plastic surgery as a resident, and now I focus on medical education companies. That very first video I made on Med School Insiders, which is my main YouTube channel, it was essentially me trying to teach other med students what I had learned after 4 years of med school. This was at the end of med school that I created it. And part of it was because I felt that there was a lot of suboptimal advice out there that was misleading pre-meds and also medical students. And I wanted to show people what I learned, what I had learned the hard way actually worked for me. I had zero video editing experience. That first video on Med School Insiders was a 3-year-old iPhone attached to a $16 Amazon tripod with a selfie stick to get an over-the-table shot, and I wrote on a piece of paper. No video editing, no prior video skills, but I just focused on providing the content, right? And I remember I couldn't even edit, so I had to do it all in one single take, and it took me like 5 or 6 takes to get it down right. Part of me is a little bit perfectionistic in certain ways, but here I felt like I really wanted to get my message out, and I wasn't waiting to figure out video editing or to get, to not be so broke and be able to afford better equipment. I just wanted to learn and figure out things with what I had. And part of that is not taking on a strong identity, because at the time I was just a med student, right? That's the only thing I really knew. And I didn't know anything about video editing, but I still figured out that I could learn, I could adapt and grow and learn these new skills. I had started the YouTube channel at the end of med school, and I was doing it through residency. And surgical residency is not a walk in the park, so I wasn't really sleeping much. I was sleeping like 4 hours a night, and I got to the point where I was like, this is not sustainable. I can't do this for 6 years, running Med School Insiders, running my first company at the time, a separate medical technology startup, and then also being a surgical resident. And I figured something has to give. So I sat down, I made some spreadsheets, talked to some mentors. It was a really tough decision, toughest decision of my life by far to this date. But I decided I'm gonna go all in on entrepreneurship. A lot of people think that I quit because I didn't like plastic surgery. That's not true, man. I fucking loved it. It is still, to me, the coolest, most innovative, exciting, sexy part of medicine. And operating in the OR there's nothing else like it. But at the end of the day, I had to figure out the pros and cons list and talk to people to figure out what do I want out of life and which path is more likely to give me that end result. That means things like impact or the life vision I have for myself and my future family. You need to be willing to let go of biases such as the sunk cost fallacy or even having too strong of an identity. Because if I was just like, hey, I'm a surgical resident and I only viewed myself through that lens, that would limit me in terms of viewing the other potential options that were out there. So one of the reasons was actually impact, because even from a purely selfish reason, you wanting to help other people and impact their lives is gonna make you happier with your career, with your life satisfaction. So with that in mind, I also realized that my businesses that were online businesses, they could scale infinitely because of the internet, because of YouTube, because of these various technologies. Whereas as a surgeon, you're still changing lives and you're still having a very real impact on patients, but you're just doing one patient at a time. And how many can you do in a single day? My advice to the younger people out there is be okay with uncertainty. I think there's a lot of pressure, especially when we're in our 20s, to figure out what we're doing with our lives. And at 27, right before I quit, I thought that I was going to be a plastic surgeon, I was gonna be specializing in hand, and I was gonna live in this place, I was gonna have a family, 2 kids, I had my whole life planned out. And it's okay when things don't go according to plan, because priorities change, circumstances change, and when you're willing to embrace that uncertainty, then a lot of really cool things can happen. My name is Kevin Jubbal, and you just watched my Behind the Dream.